And we are live. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Ryan here with the DFS 5-pack. So hopefully your Monday is just absolutely killing it so far. We do have Monday Night Football tonight, a little Rams-Bears action. I think it's going to be a good real-life game. Maybe a little bit of a snoozer when it comes to DFS. But hey, as I said in an article I wrote today, we all are on the same playing field, right? Like, we can all win ugly in this one. I don't think it has the appeal of like a sexy game like Sunday night. Cardinals taking on the Seahawks, but I mean, my chance, your chance are all just as good as anybody else's out there. So get after it. What I wanted to do today, because I got a few extra minutes, obviously baseball's winding down and basketball's over, so we got a heavy focus on NFL right now. I want to take a couple minutes and just review yesterday's cash lineup. Obviously, it was a monster scoring day. I'm sure there's probably plenty of you out there right now who put up monster scores that would cash on almost any weekend. Not yesterday. We'll talk about that real briefly. I do want to welcome aboard, as I tweeted out and I talked about on the Showdown slate this morning, in celebration of the big day yesterday. We had a lot of people do really, really well. We're running a sale on the NFL only package today. The link to the website is below. In fact, I'll just go over there right now. Just go to sign up here. And then you got all the different packages that you can get there. Obviously, daily passes are what they are. Lifetime packages, welcome aboard Jacob, who purchased this earlier today. That's forever. No future payments. All the sports we offer, everything. You never pay another dime. You're a permanent member. Monthly is obviously the popular package. But what we're running the special on today is the NFL only package. Go purchase that through the website. I will send you a $20 reimbursement basically the second I get an opportunity, which will be by the end of the day. $49 gets you the rest of the season. This includes the postseason, GPP cash, Facebook memberships, everything like that. Only $49. If you want to pay manually, the PayPal address is below as well. Also, pretty nice weekend on Overlay. I know a lot of you guys are really catching fire on the matchup shop lately. Just withdrew $400, mostly based off of a couple of football weekends. So I know that's not a lot to a lot of you. To other you guys, think that would probably help a ton. Go get your money, guys. Got in on Graham before they bumped it to -2. I told you guys I like Anthony Miller for the showdown tonight, but give me Jimmy Graham. I think he scores a touch tonight, so I had him at -1. I still think he's a good bet at -2. Obviously, I won't like it quite as much. But what we're going to look at today is a review of one of the cash lineups that we entered, or the cash lineup I entered yesterday. Just run through it really quickly. There's nothing crazy on this one that should make you feel like we're going way out of bounds or anything like that. They're all really chalky plays. I'll tell you the one spot that I did right and the one spot that I majorly screwed up, and how you can circumvent doing something like that, and why it was just a bonehead move on my part, which I've done before and I'll do again. So this is a $25 single entry, one of the more popular contests on DraftKings for a Sunday. We got a total of 8,045 entries. The top 3,500 are paid out. I placed in 280th. It was a solid day, right? It started off well, got better as the day progressed. Love days like that where it's never really in doubt, right? So I'll take it every single day. It was an easy win yesterday because after going too aggressively and deciding to pay up the other weekend and dealing with an injury and a bad play or two that caused me to live my life right outside of the money, I decided to play conservatively yesterday, so of course things went swimmingly. That's how DFS works. You guys know how it goes. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been there before. I did really think about it over the weekend long and hard. I was like, do I follow the right thing to do, which is play conservatively and build your bankroll back up? You've had some nice profits since sports came back, but then you donked a lot of it off over about a 1 or 2 day period, which is not smart. No, do the smart thing. Should have gone aggressively. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So from the quarterback position, I think every video, every article I wrote, every Instagram video I made, I told you guys I was 100% in on Kyler Murray as my go-to guy this week. As you can see by his 53% ownership, I was not alone on this one. It was a pretty obvious play, right? Seattle is about the number one place to take a quarterback against because their offense is so good and their defense is so terrible. Murray is just about as safe as they come as far as DFS goes. Those legs that he has, he's so fast. He was good. I got a little nervous earlier because I know a lot of people liked Rodgers and Herbert and Burrow, and those guys were all really good in their own right. but stuck to my guns. I think Murray ended up the best of him. Herbert might have been better because he was fantastic as well. Either way, at 53% ownership with the combination of floor and ceiling he had, it just made a lot of sense. He was a higher owned than I expected, but I knew he'd be chalky for, duh, right? Like, this is not a complex one. Alvin Kamara, 81% owned, basically scored the same as Bernard and Jamal Williams. If you heard the video that we did Sunday morning, Bellman and I were pretty much in full agreement on this one. Because of how chalky he's going to be and how much money you have, and the fact that, like, just because he didn't score, didn't he mean he couldn't have easily scored? He had the 8 catches. He had 148 yards of total offense. He just never crossed pay dirt. We were all about the GPP if you didn't like it, but it still was the safer move to play him. Just because he didn't score doesn't mean he doesn't easily score twice. Toss up a 35-pointer right here. At 4/5 ownership I think that's about exactly what we kind of anticipated. I'm sure most of you guys understood that. It was a safer play to play him. You could definitely get away from him in GPPs, and I'm sure some of you guys who did probably had some good days. All right, moving along down the list. I was pretty dead set. Once we heard on Saturday that Aaron Jones was very unlikely to play, that the running back position, you went Kamara, Bernard, Jamal Williams. In my money, knowing that these guys would all be popular, they ate up 132, basically 2/3 of the potential ownership at the running back. If you assume the flex is going to be a running back, they ate up 2/3 of it between the three of them. That's a lot for 3 running backs. But Bernard made so much sense. Williams made so much sense. Yes, I like A.J. Dillon, but the play was Jamal Williams. Bernard scored late and Williams scored late, turned him into really good plays. But even if they hadn't scored, Bernard was going to be very blah, right? The 13 points he was coming with, the 12 and a half, it was fine based on the salary. You definitely could have lived with or without it, but the late score made him a solid play. The same goes with Jamal Williams. He would have been fine with 14 points off of 4,000. You're fine with that for the cap space. But the late score made him a very good play. Maybe not a necessity because what a big day the scores were, but a very solid play. So we rode the chalk running backs because the chalk running backs made so much sense. Okay, now you had to start getting into decisions because the wide receiver position was loaded, beyond loaded. And all week long, I was back and forth between Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins. It wasn't impossible to play both of them, but I literally spent so much time talking up Scary Terry that I felt that I was almost obligated to play him. And I also liked him a lot, right? At 55% against that Dallas, quote-unquote defense, he made a lot of sense. He just missed a second touchdown, just missed getting that 3-point bonus with another 10-yard catch. So even though he didn't end up being great, he was still good, and he made a lot of sense. The question was Adams or Hopkins. And once we knew Aaron Jones was out, I had to go Adams. I liked Hopkins as well. I thought Hopkins was a really good play. If you liked Hopkins over Adams, I don't think you were wrong to make that decision. And also, what did Hopkins end up with? 10 for 103 and a touchdown, 29.3. Hopkins was an elite level play. You were absolutely right to like DeAndre Hopkins in this spot. Adams just happened to have one of the better games that you're going to see all season from a wide receiver. Almost 200 yards, scored 2 touchdowns. It happens. You weren't wrong to like Hopkins over Adams. You just happened to get it wrong in this situation because Adams had one of the better receiver games you're going to have all year. And you didn't know that Roby was going to go down. Maybe Adams is only really, really good instead of great if Texans' #1 corner doesn't leave this game. You don't know. Could have been the same. It could have been different. Hell, it could have been more. We don't really know. But this one just happened to work out. So I knew pretty darn well that I was going to be Adams and McLaurin. And then the questions came into the tight end position, my third wide receiver, and then the defense was always going to be Washington. That's where I screwed up. That was the big screw up of the day. Washington at much less money massively outscored the Patriots. I believe they ended with 17 points. This is something that you hear us talk about repeatedly, and that is real simple. Do not be afraid to leave money on the table. I chickened out. I played chicken money yesterday. I liked Washington better than the Patriots. Not even just dollar for dollar, just better overall. But like an absolute first-time donkey, when I had the money, I couldn't do it. I spent up, thought Belichick would have a good game plan against Garoppolo. Garoppolo absolutely torched them all day long. The Patriots weren't ready. Should have ridden the chalk. should have eaten the salary difference. The problem was once it was announced that Harrison Bryant was starting, because the tight ends to me were between Cook, Njoku, and Bryant as the main guys I was looking at, I just didn't have the stones or the balls to leave the money on the table. Once Bryant was starting, I wanted to use him, and I was looking at the Washington defense the whole time. And I literally didn't move him out of this cash lineup until the end because I had this extra money. Once I decided to go with Keenan Allen over like the likes of Julio and DK Metcalf, I could have spent down to Lockett, who I preferred over Metcalf, and wrote up all weekend long, but I didn't do it. It is that mental blockage we have in our head, and I'm kicking myself today. Now, I looked at the difference in GPPs on this lineup. This made about 6 times my buy-in, if I remember correctly, 5 or 6 on the GPP I entered it in. It would have made like 7 or 8 if I made the difference. It wasn't life-shattering or anything like that. You just kind of get mad at yourself when something that you preach, you don't practice. Should have left with Washington. They were the better play. There's nothing you can do but just say you were wrong right there. I ended up liking Keenan Allen more than Julio, and Julio was fine. Julio, I think, was about 17. Dallas was about 17. So that would have been a 34. It would have been a 4-point bump if I had done Julio and the Washington defense versus Keenan and the Patriots. So, again, I still would have struggled to leave the money on the table in the main slate like this, but it would have been the better move. Kind of surprised Bryant was only 4% owned. When Shefty tweeted out that Bryant was getting the start, and I'm assuming people were looking at the Cleveland tight ends anyways, I was kind of surprised he wasn't a little bit higher owned, but you know, there was so many good plays on the board. People didn't need the cap space. I guess I understand. Maybe they were just smarter and spent up at tight end and supposed to spend it out on defense, or spend it up on defense. So that was the big mistake. And if you take anything out of this video, besides go purchasing the NFL package, the thing I would take out of this video is it's okay to leave money on the table. I chickened out. There's no other way to look at it. It is so hard to do, but if it's the right play, it's the right play. You know, Washington defense was in a great spot. They match up really well with Dallas and that beat up offensive line, and should have stuck with my guts on that one, but didn't. But guys, had a few extra minutes today. We have done very few of these lineup reviews lately. Just, I don't know, had the time, wanted to talk it out with you guys. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Good luck on your showdowns tonight. Get your money in over at Overlay. And before the special ends, go get that NFL package, guys. Thanks a lot.